everyone, it's Jean from the Inky Owl Studio. Today I have here a design team project for 49Dragonflies. And the prints that I'm going to be using from her shop are first of all the Masterboard digital. Now I have a border on my printer, so if you have borderless you won't have to worry about that part of it around. But you get two sheets, and one sheet is this way. Wonderful collage. It makes easy work out of collaging, let me tell you. And here I've reduced the two sheets down to half their size. So if you're doing a journaling card, you might want to reduce them down, and you can cut them in half and have like a nice little card that has reduced size of the collaging. And so this is the one that I don't have in a full sheet, but here are the two that you do get with the kit. I went ahead and left them large for the project that I'm working on today. That was going to suit me. I'm also going to be using her printouts of these embroidery pieces. Nice, very nice scanning. Lots of nice detail on these pieces here. I've already cut one out, but this is the full size. And then I reduced them down to a half size to use as well. And so I've cut one of those out too to experiment with. So I'm going to be using these. And then I'm going to be using her tickets and floral stamps digital. And I've already cut them all out, but I'm just going to show you a few to give you an example of the altered tickets that you get. You get, a dozen or so of those, and you get a dozen or so of these little floral stamps. So I'm going to be using that in my collaging. So here are a few of those tags that come from her collaging papers, and they're wonderful. And this is the full size digital, and just beautiful. And I'm so excited because this really saves a lot of time, especially if you want to mass make a bunch of tags that are, vintage, grungy type of tags. This just saves you so much time in getting those things done. Now, as far as the technique today, I'm going to be using a technique from Roxy Creations, her challenge. I believe it's week 22. And in that challenge, she is covering up her tags with fabric. And the fabric should be plain and lightweight, so that you can see through it a little bit, because you don't want it really heavy too. Of course, you don't want to blank cover up all of what your tag is. So a lightweight muslin is what I have here. I washed it, got the sizing out and everything, and I am going to tear a piece. Now what I wanted to do, I thought, is all of this ragged edges from tearing that you get, I wanted them to, kind of go beyond the tag just a little bit so that I can fray them kind of nicely. So I am going to rip a section, and I'm going to make sure that it's about as wide as the tag, maybe a hair larger. There we go. So something just like this, so that I can see some of that fray, and I can, do more fraying if I want to in the end. And the top is probably going to have to be cut anyways. Let's just see. My piece was not that large to begin with. There we go. There. Just like so. So I have a little bit of that distress edging going on. Now we're going to use a glue stick. I'm going to use Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength. I've had pretty good luck with this glue stick. I've used it usually. Let me get a little piece of paper here to glue on. And you want to coat your tag nicely. And it does feel strange to be putting glue on the front of something because you're so used to putting it on the back. But we're just going to get a nice coat of glue. And there we go. Get the edges done. And I'm going to put down our little piece of fabric. So try to get over the edge just a little bit there, a little bit of a frame. And then kind of get it massaged in there a little bit. I see a little area where, yeah, it looks pretty good. There we go. So we have that done there, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut this part here, maybe a little bit beyond the edge there, so I can maybe distress the edge just a little bit. So now we have our cloth. And now what I like about this method is it allows you to kind of tone down the background a little bit, like gesso might, and then you can stamp over it. And that was the second thing that she did, was she put stamps over the cloth part of it. Because if you were to put a stamp on, you know, the boldness of this or most collaging, they wouldn't stand out as much. But this way, they do. And for this particular one, I am going to be using some of this script, and I'm going to use archival ink. Now, the way it goes. So I'm just going to put it on. I'm not even going to use a block to put this on with. I'm just going to maybe put a little bit here on the side, along like this. Have a little bit going there. I probably should get that off my, should be using a paper to stamp on. But anyways, there is, so it shows up faintly, and you know, it shows up more than it would, you know, if you didn't have the cloth on it. So I really like that part of it. And then I'm going to start building the collage on here. And for this one, I'm going to be using paper dolls. And here's a paper doll I had in my stash here. And I'm going to use some of her tickets. Try to, so she's got these roses here. Actually, I'm going to use, I believe, one of this one here. I like this particular, so we're just going to go and now, if this is too bright for you, you can, you know, just use a little bit of distress ink like this, and just you can go over it a little bit, like so. And it'll just, you know, distress it a little bit with a little bit of your brush. And so that looks good there for me. Get the string out of here. And now I'm going to be using a little bit of this. I think it kind of helps with those little roses down there. Let's just see. I might even do a little wrap. Yeah, I'm kind of liking the wrap around here. Yeah, kind of like a stamp. I think in the end, I just went with the stamp without the ticket, and I like this. Looks good to me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue down, and for this, I'm actually going to use my Fabri-Tac. Now I'm going to put a little bit of lace down here. I think that'll look really, really sharp down there on the bottom. You can just keep on building your collage up until you have something you enjoy. Now for the top of this, I'm going to be punching a hole. And my tip for punching holes is to, first of all, it has to be pretty sharp. So the crocodile is pretty sharp. I'm not so sure the other handheld ones, I'm not so sure that these are that handy for punching out fabric, but these work, crocodiles work really well. But you can see how the little blade, or the whatever you call it, comes down. You want to make sure that your fabric is facing up against that there. So let me just put a little mark here for myself so that I know about where I want to put that tab or tie. Put it right about there. And so you'll want to, oops, I'm doing it wrong already. You'll want to put that thing right over your mark. Okay. All right. This way you have a nice clean punch. When you punch the other way, sometimes it's just not as clean, and it looks like it's a little bit chewed up a little bit, which is not bad. It might be the look you're going for, but by remembering to put down your little I don't know what you call it, but the blade, putting that down first, the punching part of it, will help that to be a clean cut for you. And I'm going to then put a little bit of tie inside. And voila, we'll be done. Now I'm going to do one more. And this time I'm going to use something a little different. And we'll just stick up here. And so yeah, so there's your little cute little tag. I like the contrast of this color, this more white color. I like all the contrasts in here, and I like the depth of seeing this in the background, because you can still make up the pink, take it up and match it with that. Just like these different elements that aren't necessarily vintage, like this isn't exactly vintage, but it just makes it look different, and it gives you a different way of looking at it. For this tag, instead of doing stamping, I am going to be using a stencil, and I'm going to use Distress ink because I didn't want to get my brush with the permanent ink on it. So I'm going to use it, which I think Distress ink will be just fine for this purpose. You know, if you're trying to do letters and something that needs detail, it may not work as well. But I am just going to go in here over this stencil and rub it in really well. Now you really got to get, you know, you got to force your brushes into those cavities there. And just gonna do it. And so now you have, like, you know, a design on here rather than just having a stamp. You can just use your stencils for whatever you would like to do. You can use a floral stencil, whatever. So if you don't have a stamp that you like, you know, perhaps you have a stencil that you enjoy using. I'm going to use a little bit of Tim Holtz paper dolls. Who doesn't like that? And it's just so simple, because you know, you have the collage tag all done for you. You just put a few elements over it, and you are all set. I'm going to be using this ticket. I like the green. I think it picks up on the little boy a little bit there. So see, kind of put that in there, and I like this as well for the same reason. Kind of picks up that color there. And then I debated on whether or not to use one of these. I think I'm going to. I think this is going to work really well in here. So I will put this in here. And let's just see. Let's just give this, put the whole one in there like that, and maybe put a little bit this in the background. So here are the 3 vintage tags. This is one I did off camera. I used the large digital embroidery print on that one there, but essentially the same elements. And there you go. So thank you so much for viewing. I hope you try this process and use Barbara's Digitals because they are really, really handy to have around to make tags and journaling cards and that sort of thing. So thank you. And also, if you want to shop at her store, at her shop, I'm going to put that link down below. And you'll get, if you put Inky Owl Studio 2021, you will get 10% off. So what a deal. We'll talk to you later. Bye.